Well, our next guest says that love is in the eyes, and if you roll yours at your spouse, you're asking for trouble. Knowing how to fight smart is just one of many secrets of happy families. Here's more.
Sometimes we just take each other for granted. In fact, that's one of the main contributors to the breakdown of today's marriages and families. Everything from stress of work, taking care of our households, and juggling the kids' activities steals precious time from the ones we love. New York Times best-selling author and TV commentator Bruce Feiler tried an experiment to get closer to his wife and twin daughters. Now, his marriage and family are stronger than ever.
Please welcome back to the 700 Club, Bruce Feiler. It's great to have you back with us.
I'm honored to be with you. Thank you for inviting me.
You took some unique approaches in figuring out how to strengthen your family life. You have a wife, two beautiful daughters, and you wanted to find out what makes couples happy and what makes families not just stay together, but stay together with quality. Talk about the experiment you did.
Well, we felt chaotic and out of control as parents, and we wanted to try some new ideas. And I would say our experiment had two big blocks. One was we needed to adapt, to control all the change that was going on around us. So we started a weekly family meeting. It takes 15 minutes. We do it on Sunday evenings, and we say, what's working in our family this week? Yeah. What's not working, and what will we work on in a week ahead? And it created this safe zone where we would talk about our family. But you need to change, as you know, but you also need bedrock. So the other great thing we did was we made a family mission statement. And when I first heard it, I thought it sounded cold, but it was this incredible thing. And someone said, can your children really say what values are most important to you as parents? Yeah. We had a pajama party, you just saw the picture, and we said what matters most to us, and we made a list. And whatever it is, if it's faith, if it's service, if it's travel, if it's joy, if it's baking, if it's cooking, it doesn't matter. It was defining what is our best possible selves. It helps us to achieve what's our best possible selves.
And it wasn't just you and your wife making this definition that was now going to fall upon the heads of your children.
Exactly.
I mean, they really were a part of the process, and that made a difference, didn't it?
We have found over and over again that including our children in the process actually empowers them more and helps them to be more motivated. And the latest research shows if kids who set their own goals and plan their own schedules, it's building up their brains. You can't just get your kids to 16 and say, go forth and make decisions. You've got to give them practice having the skills you want them to have when they're older.
You know, it seems like such a practical idea, Bruce. I don't know why we didn't think of it before. But
well, I think that, part of it, I think about this book and why it's touching a nerve is that we're in this straitjacket, that the only ideas we can implement must come from family experts. Yes. But there's all these other ideas about how to make teams and groups work. And what I've tried to do here is put 200 new ideas onto the table. It's not 5 or 6 or 7. Here's what works with your family might be different from her family, different from my family. But if you take 3 ideas from this book, I think you can have a happier family in a week.
I love the fact that you went beyond just the staid traditional family unit and looked to corporations and organizations and what makes. I mean, that made so much sense as I was reading it. I thought, this is a great idea. One of the things I know that is a problem in families is communication and keeping those doors open and communicating well. You talk about how to fight smart.
Well, my wife and I would have this fight every night. We would put the girls to bed and we would talk about who's picking up the dry cleaning or the milk for the weekend, and it was really getting us down. And so I went to talk to people who make peace around the world, and we made a number of changes in our lives. Yeah. First, we don't fight between 6 and 8. Because research shows that's the highest stress time in families. We were in my office. I was sitting high at my desk, bunch of computer equipment. She was lower, arms crossed, resentful. I was in the power position. There's all this research that if you sit across from someone, you'll be more confrontational, but alongside them, you'll be more collaborative. So we now sit side by side on a cushioned surface. Whatever we're doing, it reduces the stress in our family. There's all these new ideas out there. Let's bring them into families.
You mentioned cushion surface. Talk a little bit about how the way you position furniture can change things in your family dynamic.
If you're sitting at a rigid surface, you'll be more rigid. If you're sitting on a cushioned surface, more open. This psychologist walked through my house and said, you're sitting in the wrong place. When you're disciplining your children, if you're on a cushioned surface, it will go better. We just went through my daughter's report cards. Just last weekend, we sat on a window seat we have in our home. our girls on our side, in between us. We said, look, we're on your side. But guess what? You've got some things to work on based on this report card. And again, the larger point here is there's all this know-how out there. And here's maybe the number one thing we know. All families have conflict.
Yes.
If you can limit and control that conflict, you can recover from it. What you want to do, spend less time worrying about the bad times, more time building up the good times. If you focus on those positive memories, they will outweigh the negative ones.
You know, there are some traditional things, I guess you'd call them, Bruce, that people think of as sort of being marriage, you know, enhancers, things like date night and family dinners. And you say that those aren't quite as wonderful as everybody's made them out to be, or quite the solution.
Well, the research is very interesting. On the date night, if you are trying to, you've been talking all week about improving your marriage. If you just go to dinner and a movie, it won't have that much impact. You want to do something new, get lost, cook a new recipe, take a class. If you do something, something like when you were first meeting, it will rekindle that feeling you were just falling in love. And as for dinner, we've all been told it's good for our lives, but it doesn't work for some of us. My wife works late, or sporting practice with the kids.
Or people are fighting at the dinner table.
Exactly. So guess what? There's only 10 minutes of conversation in any meal. The rest is taken up with take your elbows off the table and pass the ketchup. You can move that 10 minutes to breakfast, to a bedtime snack, have the same benefit. We tested, as you know in the book, a bunch of different talking games to try to find the ones that are most restorative. And here's my favorite piece of advice from The Secrets of Happy Families. If you talk to kids about their family history, where their grandparents were born, where their parents went to high school, maybe an aunt or an uncle who had an illness that they overcame, those kids who know more about their history, a greater sense of confidence. The number one predictor of a child's emotional well-being, because they understand they're part of a long narrative. And to me, this is one of the things actually that religion is great for. It shows there's ups and there's downs. And the kids who understand that their relatives have had good times but also bad, gives them the confidence to push through, make their own lives happier.
And it kind of defines for them, this is who we are. You know?
Talk about this is what it means to be part of our family.
It's a wonderful book. I really enjoy it. Bruce has over 200 ideas. You got to find one in there that works for your family. And to help bring your family closer together, they're all in his latest book. It's called The Secrets of Happy Families. This is available wherever books are sold, and you told me it's #5 on the bestseller list this week, right? Wow, that's wonderful.